Hey there, Freedom Seeker. Welcome back to the Freedom Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Sutherland, and bringing you another astounding guest. Joining me today is Amanda Wittenborn, the founder of Amanda Creation and the creator Unleashed. We are going to talk about e-commerce and an interesting story. She's got quite a transformational story that is going to really inspire you. Anybody who's interested in building a brand online, this episode is for you. Welcome to the show, Amanda. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe to this show on whatever podcast player you prefer and follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Hey friend, it's Lindsay. Pause with me for just a second. You're listening to this podcast right now, and maybe you've listened to dozens or hundreds of episodes. Maybe you've just even done all the things. You've bought the courses, bookmarked articles, joined the Facebook groups, all because you know you need reoccurring income. It's something that's been weighing on you for a while. You might have heard me talk about it, the someday dream. Well, we're going to make this the today action. It's time to get moving. And here's the thing, you've got all the information at your fingertips. And the fact of the matter is, you don't need any more information. You're drowning in information. What you really are starving for is clarity. Everybody in the world is teaching you what to build. And YouTube is full of how-tos, but nobody is helping you figure out which one fits your business, your lifestyle, your actual audience. Which model makes sense for you? How do you know if people are going to pay for it? Where do you even start? Those are not questions that another podcast episode can answer. You, my friend, need clarity, and that's what I created for you. It's a free guide. It's called Earn 5K per month on repeat. 5 simple steps that help you figure out what you should build to get that reoccurring income flowing. And it's not just what everybody else is building, it's what makes sense for your business. Because here's the truth. You don't need more information. You need to see your specific path forward. That is clarity, and that's what this guide does. So text the word freedom to 55444 and I will send it straight to you. Again, that's freedom to 55444. It's time to stop listening to all the things and start building. Okay, but definitely keep listening to this one episode, shall we? The point is, the next step is waiting for you in the guide. So take action, get that guide sent to you, and let's build something together. All right, back to the episode.
Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. Well, please kick it off. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you even fall into building an online business to begin with?
Yeah. So from the time my oldest son was a baby and throwing his first birthday party, I've just loved throwing those themed coordinated parties. And I like to joke and say that I was, having Pinterest-worthy parties before Pinterest even existed, as my son is about to turn 20, so long time. And I would just make all these adorable decorations for his parties. Friends would come and ask, where did you get them? They found out I made them, and then I started making party supplies for friends. And one day, a couple years into it, a friend said, you should try and sell these items. And I thought, I don't know that anybody's going to want to buy it. I just do it for my kids, and I just love to do it, and it's just fun. But I don't know, I just thought, well, okay, maybe I will try to sell it. And so I put a few things up on Etsy at the time, and they did actually start selling, and people did actually like what I was designing. And a part of the story too is from the time he was born, my husband and I were broke. I mean, completely broke. Not even like paycheck to paycheck. Like, we parked the car further behind in car payments at the front of the driveway and parked it in so that it couldn't be towed overnight, kind of broke. And so the goal for me when I started putting those items up on Etsy for sale was just to make enough money to be able to afford simple things like to be able to put them in T-ball or in music classes, because we just did not have any extra income to do those kinds of things. And here I have like a little 3 or 4-year-old. I'd love to put him in activities, and it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a possibility for us. So when I first started, I really just set out to make a couple $100 extra a month to be able to have those experiences for him. And so when things started selling, I got excited and I decided I would just start adding more items. So whatever was working, I would add more invitations, add more party boxes. I mean, I was just designing all sorts of things. I woke up every day excited. What new products can I create? What new themes can I create? And that was really kind of how it all got started, from just a love of parties and a wanting to make a little extra income.
You're so reminding me of my baby sister. She, like you, does those Pinterest worthy parties. Like even when she was young, we were little kids. She one time hosted her own birthday party and handmade all her decorations. I think she was like 11 or 10. I mean, she's always been, and she goes all out for her kids. I'm always like so jealous because I'm the last minute mom. Like, oh
Yeah,
shoot, his birthday's next weekend. What are we doing?
yeah. And that's okay, because I also was a very crafty child like that and was always doing those kinds of things. And now I use this business to help moms like you be able to throw those adorable coordinated parties at the last minute without all the effort. And so you can let me do the work for you, because
Yeah, that is
you don't
so
have to worry about
awesome.
it.
I
Yeah,
love
somebody
that.
who loves it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Not everybody. I always was like, she's so much better at it than me, but I'm different. I have my strengths too, so I'm
Right.
not dogging myself, but it's funny how it works out.
Yeah.
But no, I love that, and I can't wait for her to hear this story because it will inspire her, and I love that. So when you started selling on Etsy, were you making things of your own, or were you selling other products? And like, is there? I don't even know if there's a way to do that on Etsy. Can you sell other people's products on Etsy?
I don't think you can.
Okay, I didn't think
So
so, but I
everything
haven't
was,
spent a lot of
yeah.
time on Etsy.
Yeah, so everything was mine. Everything was designed by me. Everything that I sell has been designed by me. We now
Okay.
have over 8,000 products. And so over the years, I've designed quite a few products, and I'm constantly adding new ones because I'm always inspired and I always have new ideas. But on Etsy, everything was a digital download.
Oh,
So that would mean that a mom would come and make a purchase, and then she would get a file to download, and then she would print it herself, and she would have to cut and assemble and do everything on
how
her own.
cool. What a genius idea. What gave you the idea to do that? Like, what a creative way to go about it.
I mean, that's what I was doing. So I was creating these items for the party, that I was creating them digitally and then printing them and then cutting, and because I'm a crafty person. So, I was kind of just combining my love for like little handmade crafts and into like a digital version of it where I could perfect the look of it. I did all sorts of things like, I still love to paint and draw. I did stamping for a while, and so it really was just kind of switching the art medium to doing it digitally. And then I loved printing things out and seeing it printed, and then, cutting and taping and assembling and all that stuff. So that
Mm.
was really kind of the start of all of it. And I built up that Etsy business for maybe 3 or 4 years. And shortly after I had my third son, I was still in the newborn phase, still exhausted. I got an email with a flag on my account. And I read it, and it was for a copyright infringement. And it was actually for something that I had permission to do, that I had emailed the company, asked, gotten permission. And so I said, okay, I will look at that later, and I'll take care of it later. And a week went by, and I was sleep deprived, and I had forgotten about it. And another flag came, and Etsy shut down my store
Mm.
permanently. We had gotten to a point where I was bringing in maybe $3,000 to $5,000 a month on Etsy. It was the first time in our marriage that we had all the bills covered and extra money, and just like that, it was gone overnight.
That's horrible.
It was pretty horrific.
And then, of course, with a new baby, it's like, now what?
Right,
And the
because
emotions that you're already going through, I'm sure the hormones were not helping.
yeah, it was
Um,
not a pretty time.
no.
It was not good. It was not it was very depressing, and it was
Mhm.
very devastating, and I don't actually have the words to describe how I felt, because it was such a tremendous loss. It was something that I had spent years building, just gone. It was financial security that we had never had, gone, because that income was gone. And it was almost like, a loss of a dream too, because I really felt like I was getting up and I was doing my dream job every day, and that was just gone
And
because
that
I didn't
love for
really have
what you
another way to
do.
sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like that love and that passion and the joy is like tainted with this negative blob. It kind
Yeah.
of makes it hard to want to do it again.
Yeah.
How did you like what did you do? I mean, how did you navigate that
So,
whole journey?
yeah, I quit. I quit for a while
Yeah.
because it was that devastating, and I just thought there's no way I'm going to make this work. And that was the first success I had really ever had, and I didn't know how to make it work any other way. And I am still permanently banned to this day on Etsy. Like, you are talking to an outlaw. So there was no
We're
getting that
kindred
back.
spirits.
There was no getting that back. And so, yeah, I did just give up for a while. I would say probably 9 months or so. And then I got an email from another party brand that I followed on Etsy who was looking for a designer to add to their team. And so I applied because, well, I needed a way to make money and I definitely knew how to design party supplies. And she hired me. And so I started designing party supplies for her business. And it was one of the best jobs. It was the best experience I've ever had. People were like, "Oh, you worked for your competitor," and I just don't believe that we really have competitors. I believe that there's customers for all of us, and her customers were not going to buy from me, and my customers were not going to buy from her. And we learned a ton from each other, and I just really appreciate that relationship that we had. And it caused a spark. And that little voice in my head nagging me that you're supposed to be designing party supplies. You're meant to design party supplies. And for whatever reason, that little spark was all I needed to go, okay, I can figure this out. There's got to be a way, and I'm going to try. But it, that was not the next day. That was
Right,
months,
right. Of course. No.
probably even a year after that I said, okay, maybe I can figure this out.
Hmm.
And so I knew I had products that people liked, and I knew that um, people would purchase them if they could see them, if they could find them. And so I just needed to figure out an audience. And the biggest audience is where? On Amazon. Now, Amazon does not allow you to sell digital products. So there's no option. There was no option to do it the way I had been doing it. There was no way to kind of scoot around it or make it work or make it fit. And so I spent months kind of trying to figure out if there was a way to make it fit. And ultimately, there wasn't. And so what I had to do was figure out what I could do that would work for Amazon. And so the shift that I made was instead of offering digital products, I had to switch to physical products. So instead of a digital invitation personalized with their information, I created fill in style invitations that would be ready to go, that a customer would have to handwrite their details. And I thought, oh man, there's no way anybody's going to buy a fill in invitation. Who wants to handwrite that? But for whatever reason, I decided I'm just going to put up a few designs. So I picked like 10 designs at the time, converted them to fill in style, and I put them up for sale on Amazon, thinking that no one would ever purchase them. And I was wrong. So that little hunch was a good thing that I listened to it. Somebody did purchase one. And the funny thing is, I didn't actually have a physical product. All I had was the image that I put up. So I went, oh no, I have to figure out how to get this product created and send it to this person. And so after messing around on my home computer and trying to print double-sided and almost throwing my printer out the window, I decided to just have the local office supply print it for me. So I went, picked it up. I had to go to the craft store for envelopes, brought it all home. I had to hand cut out every single invitation. I had no packaging, so I'm pretty sure I put it in a Ziploc bag and then just shipped it off. And it, I I did it. So I love that part of the story because it was like I didn't really have anything figured out when I put that item up for sale, and when I had that first sale, that's when I figured it out.
I
You
love
know,
that part of your story too, because I see that as such a huge thing that holds people back is the I don't know how and I don't know what or all of those things.
right?
It it's it's so glorious to hear you say that because I even wonder to myself like what inspired you to do that without even having them printed like that was a big leap like you must have really not thought anybody would buy
I didn't.
it.
I didn't. I really was like, I don't think this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try it.
I
We'll
love
just see what
it.
happens.
I think so much of
And
online business is just that, Amanda. It's just the try it out and see what happens. And, I was telling you about my book club right before we got on the call. I was just telling them, I said, look, a lot of what I'm posting, I don't even know. It's like, it's all just spaghetti until I start to look at the analytics and figure out what I'm doing more and more detailed with it. I'm learning too in this process. Like we're all learning something and we just could
yeah,
be at different levels, but just getting started and seeing what pops is really cool. That's really neat that that
yeah.
worked out.
And I figured I will figure it out, right? Like, how hard could it be? How hard could it
Mhm.
be to print some invitations? Turns out it was actually pretty hard. Lining up a double-sided print on a home printer, I do not recommend.
Yeah.
Um, but I have it all figured out now, but it started there. And
Hmm.
so, the way the business looks today and the way I do things now is nothing like that. We don't package in Ziploc bags anymore. And we have, pretty packaging but all that stuff came as I grew and I learned and, you know, you don't have to have it all figured out and I didn't. And it did actually work. So as more invitations started to sell, I had to figure out a better way too. So that was part of it was like I had to stop going to the office store. I had
Hmm.
to stop hand cutting the invitations. I had to figure out new ways to do it as more and more sold. And so I did. So I just one piece at a time found better ways to do each part of that puzzle. And even now, I'm still finding better suppliers for envelopes and, you know, all sorts of different things and more ways to be efficient. And there's just always ways to do that. And so I just doubled down on what was working. So, I had 10 designs up. I was like, well, what if I had 40 designs? What would it look like if I had 40 designs? And so I just added more and more invitation designs. And then the next piece of it for Amazon, all about Prime shipping, right?
Hmm.
For Prime shipping, in order to qualify for that, you actually have to have inventory on hand, ship it into Amazon, and
Hmm.
it has to be in Amazon's warehouses to qualify for Prime shipping. So when I first started, I was shipping every order that we got. And so not only were my customers paying a shipping fee, they were also willing to wait 1 to 2 weeks to get their product. And I was like, well, if they're paying that extra, it's like $5 in shipping, and they're willing to wait, how many more could I sell if they were available for Prime?
Hmm.
And so that was when I decided that I was going to invest in my first set of inventory. And I remember the cost of it was $750 for however many I wanted to order. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to pay this back. Like, how am I ever going to afford to pay? Like, $750 was just, that was at that time, I was just starting out. We weren't making money because I had lost the Etsy store. And so that was just, it felt like a gargantuan amount of money that I was never going to be able to pay back. But I was operating on the thought that maybe I would sell even more if they were available for Prime. So I shipped in my first set of inventory, and that hunch was right. They started selling about 10 to 1 to ones that I was shipping. Prime was selling 10 more to the one that I would ship. And so, again, it just started to take off, and we just started selling more and more. And I started adding more and more invitations. And then I started to branch out and think, well, what could go with invitations, and what other items could I figure out how to turn into physical products. So just going back to some of the digital things that I was making and figuring out a way to turn those into physical products that were manufactured, ready to go, shipping straight to your door. So the first easiest one was thank you cards, just a slightly smaller size. We already had the setup for the invites. And so it was just figuring that out. And then I started to do stickers. And
Oh,
that was its own little adventure. But we have probably 30 or so different products and then lots of designs of each of them. So now, we sell 4 different sizes of stickers, we sell water bottle labels, folded greeting cards, thank you cards, all sorts of different things. Gift card holders, stationery, Valentine's for kids, all sorts of stuff, about 8,000 different products
wow.
that have all been designed by me. Yeah,
That's
so
incredible.
it grew, and I grew it by just doing what was working and doing more of it and thinking of ways to expand it and other products that could be offered. And so when I look back at the whole Etsy thing and how devastating it was in the moment, now that I'm on the other side of it, I can see how it was actually one of the greatest things that happened to me because I was so content where I was on Etsy. I was happy with the amount of money I was making. I was not thinking of anything much bigger than that. We were covering our bills, things were great. And yet the switch has just created this business that is multi-million-dollar per year business, which I didn't set out to create that. I simply wanted to pay for music lessons and t-ball, and yet it has become something much grander, much bigger than I even conceived of being possible for myself. And I don't think I would have ever done it or made that switch if I didn't lose the Etsy store. And so
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where sometimes I feel like the universe is always working in your favor and
Hmm.
steering you in the direction that you're supposed to go, even when it is devastating and difficult. And it is very difficult to see it in the moment. I
Yeah.
understand that. But once you're out of it, there's always a bigger picture explanation for it. And I am grateful. I wouldn't change a thing. I
That's
wouldn't I
I
wouldn't
love
undo
that.
it.
Right, right. Yeah. It's a beautiful story. I recently posted something on social media similar, like sometimes failure is actually winning in disguise. Like you don't really know it at the time, but you find out later like, oh, well, if I hadn't done those things, I wouldn't do these things. But I've even just asked, like, have you ever been fired from a job that worked out to be really great? And in a way, sort of, Etsy fired you, I guess.
A little bit, yeah. A little
But it's
bit.
also an important lesson, I think, for anybody in the digital space because one of the most underlooked positions of business is owning your business assets. And when we build our business on a platform that controls our business, then that's kind of a quicksand situation.
Yes.
And I mean, not to say Amazon couldn't shut your account
Oh,
down
they
for
do.
whatever
Yeah,
reason.
it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. So how did you bypass that? I mean, well, obviously you learned your lesson through there. You're like, okay, we're not doing that again. And how did you pivot to make sure you have like more control?
Well, you don't have control, right? Amazon does own the platform and they own the audience and all of that. So it's still not great. We have expanded. We also have our own Shopify site and we also sell on Oriental Trading. And we're looking to start on Walmart next year. And so spreading out the platforms helps too. So you have income coming from multiple different platforms. But ultimately, I mean, none of us really truly 100% own any platform that we're on in the cyber world. I mean, that's just part of it. And, I don't do any copyright characters. I mean, I never did, obviously, unless I had permission. And so the artwork is all neutral and it's farm animals and it's bumblebees and it's butterflies and there's no Mickey Mouse, there's no Pokemon. And even when customers email me and ask if I can do those things, I don't do them. They can go get them from the next shop that's going to be shut down on Etsy. But I don't do anything like that. And so, I work really hard to protect the IP, my own artwork. I do a lot of copyright registrations throughout the year because we do deal with copyright infringement. I've had people counterfeit my items as well, where they've bought a pack and copied it and started selling their own copied version of it. And to be honest, I got sued wrongfully for not doing anything wrong. And so it doesn't matter how well you think you're protected or how well you are protecting yourself. Stuff happens. Stuff is gonna happen, and you can't prevent that.
I love
The only
that.
thing you're gonna control is how you react to it and what you do
Mhm.
to deal with it. And so for me, it's like, where's my level of peace? Most
Mhm.
of our income and sales comes from Amazon because it's just a huge platform. But to diversify and have it coming from a couple different areas does help mitigate that. And I do make sure that my account health is really good and I'm following their policies and. But yeah, at any time they could decide that they want to turn it off too.
Yeah.
And they do.
But what's really cool, Amanda, is how I just really think that moment where your joy was bruised in the beginning when you first lost your account and that spark kind of dwindled. But in retrospect, it also formed grit. It's almost like forged iron by fire, because you saw like, okay, but if I just look at this pragmatically, I can pretty much accomplish anything. I just have to be willing to do the hard things and not let that derail me. And so, like you just said, you're like, yeah, it could happen at any point, but does that mean I'm not going to do it? No, I'm going to just be smart about it and go about it in other ways, like diversify the channels. I love that. That's a great message.
I had a friend recently say, I love when things are hard because that means not a lot of people are doing it.
True. That is true
So
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I'm willing to do the hard things and I've been through a lot. I mean, I've really
Mhm.
been through a lot that, I've just learned that every hurdle that we're thrown as a business owner is just an opportunity for us to decide, are we going to keep going or is this the hurdle that stops me? And
Mhm.
I just haven't come up against a hurdle that has stopped me yet.
Right. Well, and honestly, every business goes through it. It's like the ones that stick around and work through the challenges are the ones that last and grow. Um, it's also really cool, I think, how you were able to leverage your creativity and like that just happy thing that you loved doing and turn it into such a massive business is so inspiring. Honestly, it's just inspiring. I don't personally, I'm not a creative person. Like that's just not my jam. I like to do crafts, but I'm not the kind of person that like this is what I live for. I love like the business and the strategy side of it, but I want to bring that out here because I know there are so many people who are listening to the show who resonate with that and I would love to make a living doing something creative like making cue cards and so on. And
Yeah.
what a unique idea. The whole time you were talking about building party supplies, I was picturing like streamers and banners and totally different. It did not even dawn on me. Invitations and thank you cards never even popped into my brain. Of course, you already know I'm not the planning mom. So mine's mostly like a text at the last minute. Hey, can you come over?
Yeah. And that's
I'm just
okay.
totally real here because, why not? But I love that what a cool thing to do to be able to create a invitation with a cute image that resonates with you. And I like that it's so unique because people will go and look for invitations and they'll be inspired just by your art. Like you're impacting their lives too. It's just the whole business model is so fun. I'm totally digging it.
Yes. It is really fun and I love puns and I feel like I'm really connected to kids and I just love their wild imagination and I love their excitement over their birthday. And so, like, I think of the kids as being my customer and
Okay.
what crazy invitation, what crazy birthday party theme might they want, you know?
Yeah.
And so it allows me to be a little bit ridiculous and wild and whimsical with what I create. I have outer space kitty cats. I have roller skating llamas, just like what weird, crazy kind of idea can I come up with? And it just resonates with them because that's what kids love. They
Yeah.
love what they love and they love unique things. And I do believe that that has played majorly into my success is that it is not your run of the mill. It is not what you find at a party supply store. It is whimsical. It is unique. It is different. And it connects with the kids. And when the kids are
Hmm.
happy, then mom is happy.
Hmm. I asked my daughter to give me a prompt for Chat GPT. I was showing her how to make a photo. She came up with a cat eating a donut.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I have unicorn donuts as
Oh,
one of my
fun.
birthday party themes, or I have like a mermaid unicorn, or I have a kitty cat mermaid, and it's called a permaid. And
Cute.
so
Yeah.
it's silly stuff, but kids love to combine those kinds of things. I was talking to somebody the other day whose daughter just had a birthday, and she's like, she wanted a snow leopard princess party, and she goes, I can't find anything like that, and I was like, guess who could make that for you? Guess who loves to hear things like that? Because I guarantee you her daughter's not the only one who wants a snow leopard princess party.
Right. Yeah.
And so then I make those things and I put them out there and people purchase them. And
That is
sometimes I
so cool.
wonder, like, how did I grow it, and why is it so successful? And I think it really does come down to that. It's the imagination, it's the connecting with the kids' energy, it's the wild and whimsical, and just there are thousands of unicorn invitations on Amazon, but somehow people still buy mine. There's,
Hmm.
and so there's got to be something there that isn't tangible. And I just really think I just connect with the kids, and I haven't lost that childlike wonder in my creativity and my artistry. I'll argue with you that you are creative because strategy is a highly creative thing, but we always relate creativity to art, and
Hmm.
creativity is so much bigger than
Hmm.
that. Thinking of 100 different ways to market something is highly creative.
True. Have you
That is
ever
not my
read,
creativity.
right? Have you ever read the book Artpreneur?
I don't know if I have.
Okay, so Miriam Schulman wrote the book. She recently came onto my podcast and she sent me a copy of the book before the podcast. I even told her, don't send it because the amount of time we had, it was like she was coming on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I wouldn't have gotten the book until like Friday or Saturday. And I'm like, I feel bad. I can't really read it before we get on. She goes, no, no, I do it anyway. I'm sending it to you. And I said, okay. So she sends it over to me. And I thought to myself, this is a book I would never have picked up because I don't see myself as artistic. And I'll tell you what, it blew my mind. I was hooked. I read her book, and I think by the time I read 120 pages by the time the episode was recorded. But in there, you're absolutely right. There was a whole section she was talking about. She calls it leaning into your weird. And and she really helped me identify my own weirdness. And by weird, she's talking about the creative element, that makes you different. So it's true. You're absolutely right about that. And I actually leaned into that. It helped me start to be more authentic in other ways on social and communicating with people. It just really, truly transformed me. It was a phenomenal book. Speaking of books, I don't know, have you ever thought about writing children's books?
I don't know that I've thought of writing children's books.
Okay,
The only
listening
book
to
that
you
I've
talk about your
thought about.
characters in my mind, they were all in like little books and things. And I could see like a little girl, my daughter's name's Paisley, like a little Paisley, and the stories about her birthday party and how special it was and how she picked out her invitation and like all the whole thing that I just thought that would be so cool. You could have like a whole series of books with fun themes of all these characters that you've
That
made.
is that is a really cute idea. And I should mention that I don't actually have girls. I have all sons.
Oh,
And
very
so,
awesome.
yeah, one of the I think fun things too is there's not as many boy products out as there are girl products. And so
True.
I'm really good at the boy stuff too because that's all I have. But
Right.
then I get to do the girl stuff, which is fun too because I am so immersed in boys. But yes, that's actually a really fun idea. The only book I've thought about writing is just the story of how I grew my business to what it is and the lessons
Mhm.
along the way. And eventually there will be one of those out
Yeah,
there.
for sure. That is cool. So I love this whole story. How are you moving? Where do you see yourself coming into the next, let's say decade? We all have big goals. What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, so I like to go with the flow of life and where I'm feeling led and called. And I don't actually have like a 5 year or 10 year plan other than, I know in about 8 years, all of my kids will be through high school and I probably don't want to live in snowy Illinois anymore. But other than that, business wise, I'm kind of just curious to see how I'm feeling led and what I feel is happening. I will tell you right now, I feel a deep calling for helping other female entrepreneurs grow their businesses and specifically helping them learn how to create a life that feels really good and aligned and to have their business be a part of a life rather than running their life. So they get to run their life and the business is a part of it rather than the business is running their life. And so I've created a mentorship community that is brand new. It's only a couple months old. I'm very excited about it. I really love working with these women and answering their questions and helping them through all the struggles that I've been through to grow this business. So, 13 years experience, all the ups and downs, copyright infringement, counterfeit, being sued, losing the business overnight. And I actually lost it twice because when COVID happened, I had a party supply business. So
Mm.
that was not a good time either. So
Yeah, yeah.
I've been through the ringer, and I've dealt with every common problem that an entrepreneur goes through, and I've jumped over that hurdle. And so that is kind of the current passion of mine, is building this community, mentoring women and helping them over the hurdles they're having. I have streamlined the party supply business to a point where I don't have to really do too much work other than design new products when I feel led and feel excited about it. And so, like right now is Valentine's Day. So, got 25 new Valentines coming out next year in different themes. And I love that I get to just kind of operate on whims where I'm like, oh, I have some cute new Valentine themed ideas. I did a chicken nugget one this year and a dino nugget. So, there's a dino nugget Valentine coming your way for February 2026. Um, and so it's a really beautiful place to be because I did put in all the time and the effort and the work in the beginning to really grow it and streamline it. And now I'm at a point where I get to just kind of play and I
Hmm.
get to just enjoy all the work that was put in and have fun. And then I have some extra time on my hands. And so what do I feel like doing? Helping others create a life that feels the same way, where they're just feel like they get to play in their business and get to do the part that lights them up and get the other stuff kind of out of the way. That's not to say I don't have some of the stuff, right? There's still part of business that I have to do that's not my favorite, but I don't
No,
look
but
at
I
any
think what's
switch.
important though, Amanda, and even for me listening to you, it's like a good reminder because we can get so caught up in the day-to-day to-dos, and I'm a taskmaster. Like that is my personality trait, very much so, and I know that is true for a lot of people. And then also for people who are not task oriented, they can get hung up on a task and it can feel like a big hurdle because it's not natural to them. So on both ends of that spectrum, my point is to say our brain can get so like we love to solve problems. So our brain can hyperfixate on that. And when we do that, we lose that creative vibe and that freedom feeling and that joy factor. And so even just listening to you, I could feel myself like it was like lighting something up inside of me like, yes, that's right. I want more of that. Like it's not that I don't
Right.
have it, but I want more of that. And how
Yes.
can I get to that? And even just sometimes spending 5 or 10 minutes in the morning being in that vibration, just feeling into that can help lead your business to a creative place in so many aspects. So I just think that even I just like wish we could go back into that moment where you said that. And I'm like, pause, everybody just feel that moment. It was really good.
Well, I can share a secret too that I
Yes.
learned about a year ago because that's really been my mission for myself in personal growth. I'm a personal growth junkie. Is how do I have more? How do I have more creativity? How do I have more joy? How do I have more freedom? I'm constantly pursuing that. How do I have more peace? Peace is a really big one for me right now. And so the last coach I hired promised, more unshakable inner peace. Like, who doesn't want that? And more creativity. And one thing that I learned from him that I have adopted since working with him has changed everything for me. And it's great just advice, and just pay attention to how much resistance comes up in you when I tell you. I start my day with 2 hours of creativity
Mm,
before I do anything else, before I get to work, before I handle any kind of business, before I'm checking emails, before I do anything. I mean, I get my kids off to school, right? I got to do that.
yeah.
But 2 hours in the morning is what I've decided is optimal for me for creative time. And that is not creative business work. That is not me sitting down and making new products. That's work. This creative time is whatever I want to do just for my own enjoyment. And it can be whatever is your optimal thing. So for my business coach, he loves to read and he loves to take notes in the books he reads. And so that's what he does in the morning. That's his reading and note taking time. For me, I love to crochet. And so I will crochet in the morning and listen to an audiobook that is not personal growth, that is just for enjoyment. Or I love to paint, and so I
Mhm.
will get up and I will paint in the morning. And that 2 hours is not interrupted. Some days it can't be 2 hours, but at minimum, I've promised myself 30 minutes. So every day is at least 30 minutes. Optimal is 2 hours. And the shift in the amount of my daily joy has been immeasurable.
Mhm.
I look forward to waking up in the morning. I look forward to my creative time. And I think we get it backwards. We think, let me get all the things done and then I can have my time. And what happens is you get all the things done and you get to when it's supposed to be your time and you're exhausted.
Mhm.
You don't have anything left. It's not the best creative time for you. It's not when you're feeling in the flow or your best self. And so it doesn't happen. Or something else comes up and oh well, I was supposed to get my creative time now, but I forgot my kid has open house at school and now I have to go do that, and then there is no time for it. And so
Right.
this forces you to make time for the thing that is really the best part of your day right at the beginning of your day, and then the rest of the stuff still gets done. It's really
It does.
magical.
And also you end up having like that instead of having that end of day slump where you're exhausted, you almost like have more energy because
Yes.
for me it's God time. Like I like to get up, drink my coffee, read my Bible, pray, journal, whatever. I bring God into my business. I'm just very, it's like it is a business meeting with God, so to speak, but there's always other messages going on, like life messages
Right.
too. And I find that when I miss that, if I don't have it, I am cranky.
Yes. Yes. I am so spoiled now. It was a tricky shift to make because I was getting up and I was exercising and I was doing all the things and I was like, I don't know how to do this. But after I did it for a while and I settled into it, oh man, you don't want to be around me on a day that I couldn't get it in. I'm like, I'm irked.
Mhm. I
Like,
know,
I didn't
yeah.
get my time. And so that's just, especially for busy moms. And if you're a mom running a business, like putting yourself first in something that is really just joyful for you, it really does change your day and it affects everything that happens after that time. And so
Yeah.
that's one of my best things that I've changed that I highly recommend, but also I find people give me the most resistance to on why they can't do
Oh,
that.
well, I could see that. I could see. I did struggle with that in the morning. Like, well, even now, I have this desire to work out in the morning. And I'm like, well, then that means I got to get up an hour earlier. And I know in my heart of hearts that if I just do it, I'll feel good and I'll be happy. But damn it, getting up is not easy.
I'm on that bus with you. I was telling my husband today, um, he took a little he quit his job 8 years ago to work for me. So he's been working for me, but insurance is getting a little crazy out here. So he took a little bit of a part-time job, stocking shelves seasonally to help with insurance. And he is gone in the morning and he was the one who gets up with the high schooler, at 6 a.m. And so now I'm the one that gets up with the high schooler at 6 a.m. And it is not fun. And I told him, I'm like, I get up, I say goodbye to him, and I just lay in bed then. And I'm like, I don't know why it takes me so long to just get going, but I just lay there for like 45 minutes. I'm like, I need the sun up before I can actually do anything.
Yes, there is definitely something about like in the summer, I have no problem like getting up early
Right.
and it's 5 o'clock. Yeah, let's do it. And I'm so productive. But in the winter, when it doesn't even, it's still dark out, I'm like, oh, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I know what
Yeah.
you mean. Oh
Oh,
my
it's so
goodness.
hard.
It is. It is. No, that was really good advice. And I'll back that up by saying there's a book called The Big Leap. And he really is talking about how to flip the script on your life. And he also tells that exact strategy. So I'm sharing that because it's when you know that it's two or three or four different places and it's working, it's definitely a good thing to follow. But he says that, if you're working a 9 to 5 right now, and let's say you want to build a business that's leveraging your creativity, make yourself do something creative for 30 minutes in the morning, then go to work, put it first, and it'll expand. It's like what you put your attention on and your intention on grows. And so I love that. I think it's a really powerful practice to have.
Yeah.
So, this has been a fantastic episode. Thanks for sharing your story. I know it's going to be really inspirational to a lot of people. Where can people connect with you?
So I have a Facebook page, business page that is just my name, Amanda Wittenborn. You can go follow me there. You can find out all the things that I'm up to. I share any podcasts that I've been on. I share about my mentorship community called The Creator Unleashed on there. You could email me. It's my name, Amanda Wittenborn at gmail.com. I answer all of them. So if anybody ever listens and has a question or just wants to say hi, I always respond because I love to connect with people and business owners. And I especially love to know that some part of my story resonated because I am an introvert and I don't always love to get up in front of people and talk, but I do share that story because I specifically know what it felt like at the beginning when I was doing everything on my own and how difficult and lonely it can be and how some of those struggles you feel like you're the only one going through them. And
Hmm.
so I share because I want people to know that everybody is going through them, but we don't always talk about those things. And so I've just never been afraid to talk about some of the darker sides of business because it does give people hope to just keep going. And
Hmm.
that really is the key to success. You
It
know, if
really.
there was a secret, the secret is that hurdle can't stop you, whatever it is. And any successful business owner that I know in my network, the only reason they are successful is because they kept going when other people might have decided it was time to quit.
Hmm.
And
So
so
true.
this is a reminder that you're probably not going through as bad a crap as I just went through, so it's not time to quit. You just keep going.
There isn't a time to quit. I
There's
mean,
not a time to quit.
especially if you're doing something that you love, which is truly what I heard from you, is like this was it brought you joy. It'd be one thing to, the only time I say to quit is if it's just not your calling. Like we all come to a
Absolutely.
point where we might come up against a wall and be like, you know what? I built this business because it made sense. It was a financially stable thing to do. It was a skill I learned when I was a kid, but it's not what I'm really passionate about. And if you can pivot and dig into your passion, then all the better. But if you are doing your passion, I promise you it will work out. It's amazing. Like, to me, I don't think the question is, will it work out? It's just, how will it work out? And when we can have that curiosity and that wonder, and like, I wonder what would happen if, rather than, I don't know what to do or I can't, we limit ourselves.
Right.
So just have that open idea and your brain will find the answer. It's pretty powerful how that whole thing
It's
works. So,
true. Yeah, it's so true.
yeah.
It's asking the question, and
Hmm.
I love I wonder. It's a perfect subconscious question. You just
Hmm.
ask it and then your subconscious just does all the work. You're not even aware of it, but it goes and does the job for you. And then all of a sudden, this brand new idea came out of nowhere and you're like, "Oh,
I love
isn't
those
that
moments.
amazing?"
Those are my favorite moments.
Mine too.
Yeah.
My community was a 3 a.m. wake up call. Literally like shot up out of bed and I was like, I'm supposed to create a community for women. And I was like, I'd really like to sleep right now, but instead it was writing all this stuff down, and that's really how that started.
And
And
then
so,
6 o'clock comes, and it's like, no, now I'm tired.
yeah, yeah, you're like,
Kidding.
mm, I need an inspirational wake up call, not an alarm clock wake up
Why
call.
couldn't the inspirational moment happen at 6 a.m. when it's time to get up?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we just need to start asking. I wonder if I could just be inspired every morning at 6 a.m. We'll just see what
There you
happens.
go. I love it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.